Hey friends, this is Ray from O&Co Games, here to tell you all about the clunky evolution of the first village we've built for our game, Tethergeist. Tethergeist is a precision platformer first and foremost, designed for gamers who don't mind a challenge, but we didn't want that sweaty gameplay to be the only experience in our game. As big fans of open-world games like Skyrim, Breath of the Wild, and A Short Hike, Noah and I wanted to incorporate some elements that would invite players to slow down between levels and explore the world of Tethergeist. We decided to approach this with what we're calling hubs, which are small open areas May passes through on her journey. The first hub we've created is May's hometown. We're calling it the Mountain Village. Currently pretty close to how we plan to make all the hubs work. Every player will experience some of the hub as part of the main storyline, but there's a lot more for the player to explore if they choose to. You can talk to villagers, find Atropa blossoms, and learn more about the world and story along the way. Right now, May's village just has a handful of NPCs that she can go talk to, who add some more context and flavor to the world. But we plan to build interiors, more NPC and animal interactions, and a handful of secret areas. We really want to take a page from Hyperlight Drifter's book in rewarding the player for stepping off the beaten path and being curious about the world they are in. But again, this is all optional. If the player wishes to skip all that and head straight on to the next platforming section, they're free to do so. It's been a rocky road to get the mountain village to the place where it is now, and we still feel like it's incomplete. We've learned a lot about how not to go about designing a town like this, and we're hoping to learn from our mistakes moving forward. But we figured it'd be to your interest, and possibly to your benefit if you too are a game designer, to hear about the mistakes we've made designing this village. So let's dive in with mistake number 1, not having a clear concept for the final product. It's a little embarrassing to admit this, but we never really designed a finalized concept for the whole town. We kind of just made a bunch of assets for buildings, decorations, and foliage that we felt fit the general vibe we were going for and then stuck them together. Some important iconic parts of the town were started without any real vision or concept art, like the temple, for example. We just sort of pooped something out that sort of worked, and we wound up noodling with it for weeks before it finally started to look good. For future hubs, we are going to start with some finalized concept art. That is, a painting, not pixel art yet, that describes the shapes, colors, and gameplay clarity we want. This, of course, won't keep us from having to make future changes, that's just part of game development, but it will give us a much stronger start to designing the other hubs. Mistake number 2. Designing assets individually. Because we designed all our assets separate from the whole, we weren't prepared for all the edits everything would have to go through before they started to actually look good together. Noah made some buildings that looked alright on their own, but when stacked together, they felt way too flat, so we had to go in and add shadows to everything. Designing the buildings as stamps to tessellate together in-game led to problems with platform clarity, like knowing what May can walk on versus not, and gameplay problems like making it too easy or completely impossible for May to reach platforms. We had to retroactively redesign all the roofs of the buildings so that the players could clearly know what was walkable, and we had to rearrange all the buildings to accommodate gameplay. For the next hub we make, we plan to design the level with gray boxes, aka wireframes, in-game before building any assets. We plan to start with designing concept art for future hubs, but no final assets until we know what space we need to use for gameplay. And finally, mistake number 3, too many unique assets. While we did create a small handful of buildings that could be repeated throughout the town, a considerable proportion of buildings were completely unique assets. The intention was to make the town more interesting, but it ultimately was time wasted on details that will largely be overlooked. To put simply, it's just inefficient design. Our solution for future hubs will be to take a tip from one of the many successful pixel art games before us and design assets that are more repeatable. For example, there are multiple bridges in the mountain town that are all unique, but they could have all been designed to be the same. There are a variety of larger buildings to break up the monotony of the town that are also all unique, and could have been repeated assets instead. So there's a glimpse of our crazy design process for May's hometown. We basically made a city without doing any real city planning, just a single sketch, which I'm sure would make any civil engineer roll their eyes at us. Looking back, Noah and I can't help but facepalm at our rookie moves. We did study concept design in school, for goodness sake. You'd think we'd know better. But that's part of game development. We weren't sure what the best way was to go about designing a small open world section in our platformer, so we tried something, and learned that wasn't the right way, and found ways to do it better. Despite the rocky road it took to get here, the village is mostly built and functional now, and we are happy with the concept of including these hub areas throughout the game. If you'd like to check out the mountain village for yourself, you can go explore it now by playtesting our game on Steam. We encourage you to go explore the town and let us know what you think. Are there more areas we could improve? Do you like what we're doing with these hubs? Let us know in the comments. Thanks, as always, for following our progress. We're proud of how this game is shaping up and are anxious to make it the best it can be. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. You can also join our community on Discord, and don't forget to wishlist Tethergeist on Steam. Links in the description. Thanks for watching.